How will those stimulus checks impact your tax return? I'm Kate Kelly with the answer coming up.
The latest on the investigation into a fire in downtown Knoll.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
With a second round of stimulus checks in the works, many taxpayers are wondering how all this COVID relief funding will impact their refund this year. This is KOIM News at 6. KOIM's Kate Kelly spoke with a CPA in Joplin to find some answers to your tax questions.
Taxes can be a headache, but this year it's even more complicated with people coming across conflicting information about stimulus checks.
I've seen articles that have said, yes, you're going to have to pay this back. I've seen articles that say, no, you don't. I've seen articles that say, this is it's a early advance on your 2020 tax return money that you would get back, but we don't usually get money back. So does that mean I'm going to have to pay it back? That's really my biggest concern.
It's a concern for a lot of people, but it doesn't need to be. The stimulus checks are not taxable, don't have to be paid back, and shouldn't impact your refund, whether you needed the money or not.
If someone got a payment and they weren't supposed to, they don't have to give that back and they're not going to take away from them. But if somebody didn't get a payment, let's say somebody had a baby this last year, if they didn't get a payment and they were supposed to get one, because everything's reconciled based on your 2020 status. So if you were supposed to get money, then that will be added onto your refund.
For small businesses, the Payroll Protection Program and loans fall under the same category, tax-free deductible expenses.
It ended up not being based on need. So just like the stimulus checks, they get to keep that money. It becomes part of their cash flow and they can spend it for however they want to. Because it's not going to be any kind of requirement they pay it back.
The first round of stimulus checks really helped out Sarah's family. Her husband was able to find a new job and they're catching up on their bills.
While the boat still has a hole in it, the bucket that we're bailing water with is at least bigger than the hole now. So there is light. I can't afford any more extra thousands of dollar payments, especially to a federal government that isn't as fiscally responsible as my 2-year-old.
In Joplin, Kate Kelly, KOIM News.
One big thing to keep in mind is that unemployment benefits are taxable income. That means if you received unemployment benefits without withholdings, you could end up with a much smaller return or actually have to pay in this year. We have more tax tips in this article on our website at koimnewsnow.com. Authorities in Knoll, Missouri are investigating a fire at the African grocery store and the adjoining mosque. Crews were called out to the fire at around 7 this morning. 3 people were inside when the fire started, apparently in the back of the store, then spread to the mosque. 1 person was injured and taken by helicopter to the hospital. 1 firefighter was also hurt, but authorities did not release any information about his injury. The city's fire chief says the fire is not suspicious.
Past some of the Somalian community have made apartments in some of these buildings and they overloaded the electrical system. I don't know if that's the case here, but
6 fire departments from McDonald and Benton counties responded to that fire. The Jasper County Health Department has reported its 100th COVID-19 death. The health department says it's recorded 2 new COVID-19 deaths. The patients were both men, one in his 70s, the other in his 80s. The Crawford County Health Department is reporting 3 more COVID-19 deaths. The last report, the county had 26 deaths. That number has now risen to 29. The health department did not release any information about the patients who died. Checking in now with Nick Kelly for a first look at the weather. Hi, Nick.
Good evening, Dow. It hasn't been a bad day overall. We kept things quiet even though cloud cover was more prevalent today, but that cloud cover certainly made for a colder day across the area. You can see we're sitting quiet from the station's rooftop, but all the cloud cover working in, it's ahead of our next storm system, which already triggered some winter weather advisories for Greenwood, Woodson, Coffee, and Anderson counties in southeastern Kansas until 11 o'clock Tuesday morning. Even though the radar is suggesting that earlier today we had what looked like some scattered rain and snow showers, we're still a bit dry in the mid-level, so all that evaporated before it had a chance to hit the ground. But we are seeing better moisture resulting in snow across central and western parts of Kansas. That is the leading edge of our next storm system, ready to roll on in and really change things up for the next several days. In the meantime, though, we are seeing mid to upper 30s right now. We're quiet for the night, but rain chances picking up by tomorrow morning, all ahead of that next storm system. That will be a bit of a doozy, but we'll break it all down for you here in just a bit now.
All right, we'll catch you then. Thanks, Nick. As we gear up for 2021, a fulfilling way to kick off a new year could be through volunteer work in the community. Some opportunities are one and done, and others, like those with the Jasper County Court-appointed Special Advocates, or CASA, require a larger investment of time. Chelsea Scott, the volunteer coordinator with JASCO CASA, stopped by the KOIM Morning News to talk about those opportunities. She says whichever path you choose, it's going to be rewarding and will have a big impact on the kids they serve.
I feel really confident that the kids are being heard and that their wishes are being communicated because of our volunteers, which is a really big deal.
You can learn more about volunteer opportunities on our website. Just go to the morning show page on KOIMnewsnow.com. Still ahead, police in Little Rock, Arkansas investigate the deaths of 2 women and 3 girls. And Kansas lawmakers introduce new committees to help oversee the state's ethics rules and water management. 5 people died on Missouri roads during the holiday weekend, with wrong-way Christmas Day accidents blamed in 3 of those deaths. The counting period began Thursday night and ended yesterday. 2 people died Friday in a wrong-way crash on Interstate 470 in Jackson County. Another wrong-way wreck killed a man in St. Charles County on Friday. A 14-year-old girl passenger died in a wreck Thursday, and a 56-year-old woman died yesterday when her car left the roadway in Cole County. The parents of a 4-year-old Missouri girl allegedly killed by neighbors to remove a demon now face charges themselves. Mary Mast and James Mast, both of Lincoln, Missouri, are charged with felony child endangerment resulting in death. They're in jail without bond. The couple's other children, a 2-year-old son and an infant, were placed in protective custody. The 4-year-old girl was found dead at the family home on December 20th. The Benton County, Missouri Sheriff Eric Knox says the girl had been severely beaten and dunked in an icy pond as part of what appeared to be a religious type episode. 2 neighbors are charged with second-degree murder. 2 women and 3 girls were found dead in an Arkansas home Christmas night from what appears to be homicide. Just after 5 o'clock, deputies were called to the home in Pope County, about 100 miles from the Oklahoma border. There they found the victims, ages 8 to 50. Police believe the 5 were related. It's not known how long the women and girls had been dead before their bodies were discovered. No suspect has been identified. Arkansas State Police are assisting local investigators. The OSBI is looking into the death of an inmate who died after a fight with another inmate at the Pontotoc County Jail. The OSBI says a felony assault charge has been filed against 22-year-old Caleb Bourne and that additional charges are possible. Investigators say 42-year-old Billy Joe Johnson was severely injured after an altercation with Bourne earlier this month and died last weekend from his injuries. Bourne is in custody awaiting trial on a dozen charges related to the kidnapping and killing of a 70-year-old woman back in 2017. The Kansas Senate will have 2 new committees, focusing one on ethics and also on government transparency issues. Incoming Senate President Ty Masterson's appointments of new committee leaders for 2021 reflect turnover in the Republican supermajority's top leadership. Masterson, incoming Majority Leader Gene Sullentrop, and Vice President-elect Rick Wilborn are giving up committee chairmanships. Republicans will lead all committees, but 9 of the 14 chairs will be new. Masterson created a new Transparency and Ethics Committee instead of having the Local Government Committee handle those issues. Masterson also created separate insurance and financial institutions committees rather than having a single panel. A newly created Kansas House Committee will focus on water issues. The Water Committee will be led by Republican Representative Ron Hyland of Wamego. Nick Kelly is up next with his complete forecast.
I don't want her away from me. I feel like she was away from me for too long.
And a little later, how COVID-19 forced a Missouri mother to wait to meet her newborn child.
After a mild Saturday and Sunday with highs in the lower to middle 60s, we definitely trended colder today with a lot of cloud cover and a definitely colder air mass working in. You can see how the numbers don't lie. A drop in regional, we topped out near 60 yesterday. I think 61 was actually the official high yesterday, but we dropped into the upper 20s this morning, only made it back into the upper 30s this afternoon, indicative of kind of a cold week ahead of us overall, especially by the time we wrap up the year. In the meantime, though, it's cold. No surprise there. 35 in Joppa with cloud cover around the city. At least the breeze is staying pretty light at the top of the hour. Outside the rest of the region, though, we're seeing 34 in Pittsburgh, 37 in Seneca, everybody else right in between. Except for our very far southern counties where we're trying to hold on near 40. The vast majority of us are sitting in the middle to upper 30s right now. We're going to hold in that territory for the rest of the evening, quite frankly, as cloud cover continues to build. But eventually we will drop back near the freezing mark tonight, and that could make for a bit of a tricky Tuesday morning. We'll break down why starting right now with this winter weather advisory, clipping Greenwood, Woodson, Coffee, and Anderson counties on the Kansas side until 11 o'clock Tuesday morning. That is ahead of our next storm system on the way. But out ahead of it, we already saw the cloud cover start working in. Even though the radar did suggest at times some of us might have had some rain or snow showers, that was really being eaten up in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, where it's still just a little bit too dry. That's going to fully saturate just in time for the main part of the storm system out west to start rolling in. You can see how it's snowing already in parts of central and western parts of Kansas. The main storm system at the surface is spinning across the Four Corners in the desert southwest, and the upper level low spinning across Nevada. That's going to make sure we get some colder air for the system to work with. For tonight and Tuesday, though, let's focus on that first and foremost. We're quiet but cloudy for the rest of the night. Once we get to about 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when we'll start to see better moisture working, starting off with some rain chances. But where you're sitting close to the freezing mark, especially in our northern counties, I would not be surprised if that was a bit of a freezing rain trying to mix in as well. But you can see, though, by the time we hit 8 or 9 o'clock, we'll have temperatures well back above freezing. So if we had any accumulating ice try to come out of this, it is not looking like a big deal. Maybe a tenth of an inch at worst. But it's just something to keep an eye on as we get our Tuesday underway. Then, the rest of the day, it's not looking too bad temperature-wise, at least with highs back near 50. We'll go from a freezing rain mix in the morning, a dry start to the afternoon, and then we'll watch for scattered showers developing again as we head toward Tuesday afternoon. But this system will not be done just after tomorrow, so on top of the rain and potentially freezing rain for some Tuesday morning, we'll be quiet during the afternoon. Rain chances back in to late Tuesday going into Wednesday, but then as we turn much colder on Wednesday, that rain could switch to a rain-snow mix with very minor snow accumulations wherever the snow may fall, maybe about an inch or less at early indications. But then on the backside of the system, we'll have to watch for potentially rain and freezing rain chances again on New Year's Eve during the evening. Then this could end as a little bit of a wintry mix and snow by the time we head toward New Year's Day. So this is quite an interesting storm system to watch, but one thing's for sure, 50 tomorrow, 51 Wednesday, cold for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and once we get past, maybe a few quick snow showers on Saturday now, we'll keep quiet and definitely cold for the rest of the weekend.
Quiet will be nice for the weekend.
It certainly will.
Thanks, Nick. If you haven't already downloaded the KOIM Skywatch weather app, now is the time. With the potential of wintry weather in the forecast, you're going to want to stay on top of things. You can get weather updates sent straight to your phone, and it's absolutely free of charge. You'll find that app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Again, that's the KOIM Skywatch weather app. Still ahead, complications of COVID-19 forced doctors to put an expecting Missouri mother on a ventilator. Now, 3 months later, that mother can finally bring her baby home. Boy, the ultimate Christmas present. A St. Louis area mother has her newborn home with her. The baby had to be delivered early while mom was on a ventilator with COVID-19. Carolyn Hecker has that story.
Monique Jones has never been happier to hear the cry of a newborn. That's because the birth of her daughter Zamira is nothing short of a miracle.
I don't want her away from me. I feel like she was away from me for too long.
When we first met Monique, she was recovering at home after testing positive for COVID-19 in early September. She spent weeks on a ventilator, and doctors made the difficult decision to deliver her baby at just 29 weeks. Baby Zamira spent the last 2 months in the NICU at Children's Hospital, strong enough to come home just before Christmas.
It's a beautiful thing to have her here, because I didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, who gonna know if they gonna live or die? who's going to know that.
After a near brush with death, Jones is thrilled to have her family together under one roof for Christmas. That includes her oldest daughter, who is now a big sister.
I feel like I'm complete. And I feel like I was fighting, not for me, but for them.
So as she lays baby Zamira down to sleep at night, Jones is thankful for the one thing she says got her through the entire ordeal.
It means everything to me. Family always meant a lot. And for me to have one of my own, it feels good to have the support that I need.
Zamira is now just 3 months old and weighs a little more than 5 pounds, but her mom says she continues to grow every day. A final check on the weather is next. Take time now to honor a local veteran, Private Sidney Langston. The Dennis, Kansas native served in the U.S. Army, and we are proud to salute Private Sidney Langston. He's tonight's 4th state hero. Do you want to build a snowman? An Alaska mother likely had that tune in her head when she made it her mission to build one. But not just any snowman, Olaf, the Disney character adored by her late daughter. Matt Leisman brings us this story of a mother who, while remembering what was, ended up creating what will be.
While he's a bit taller than the original, you might recognize this snowman as Olaf from Disney's Frozen. He stands around 9 feet tall, which is a big accomplishment for Lelaine Freeman, who'd never built a snowman before this one.
It takes me like a week, just the bottom part, because I don't know what I'm doing.
But once she figured out how to wet the snow and get it together, one day of hard work had big results.
So I stay until like 11 o'clock at night to build the 6 foot. Just for one day.
Then, a few days after that, Freeman got just what she needed to make this Olaf stand above the rest.
A few days before Christmas, we have a heavy snow, and I decided to just make it a big one.
Now it's at full height, but even bigger than that is the story behind the snowman. The idea first came from Freeman's son.
He said, "Oh, Mom, what if we build a giant snowman so my ate can see it, her can see it in heaven?"
His ate refers to his sister in Tagalog, Freeman's daughter, who passed away last May.
Because I am determined to do it, to honor her. And since she loved Frozen, I just decided to make it.
They hadn't been planning to do much decorating this Christmas until Freeman's son came up with the idea. Now it's likely to be a tradition, though next year's might look a little different.
He said he wants to do the Star Wars because we all love Star Wars at home. So we might do BB-8 or R2-D2.
And in the end, this snowman serves not only as a way to remember a loved one, but as a testament to the hard work of a loving family.
For those who might not be up to date with Disney characters, Olaf is in the Frozen movies, of course. No giant snowmen in our immediate future. Let's check back with Nick.
Yeah, we just got to deal with rain chances for tomorrow morning, Dell. Maybe some freezing rain for some. Otherwise, we will see highs tomorrow back near 50, but additional rain and winter weather chances Wednesday, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. We're going to deep look at that storm system once again tonight at 10, Dell.
All right, thanks, Nick, and thank you for joining us. We're going to see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.